so I think we'll begin our unveiling.
Yeah.
Just think of that being Koji.
I'm Koji Imami's stand-in. I guess I'll show it and then read what he wrote. No, I guess I'll show it and then read what he wrote. This is called jellyfish. Whenever I visit an aquarium, I always enjoy jellyfish. I am fascinated by their beautiful and mysterious appearance. I have wanted to create a kaleidoscope of jellyfish for a long time, and after wondering how to express their shimmering appearance, I came up with the idea of expressing them with the help of wind. Please turn the knob at the top, on the top surface slowly.
Did you have it plugged in?
Yep, but I don't have it turned on.
What's your name?
Koji Imami. For those of you that don't know, Koji wears a bandana. That was a last minute inspiration.
Impressive. Wow, look at that. It's got all the tentacles.
We're trying out technology we haven't perfected. So.
Oh, yeah. It will be in the showroom.
Yes, it
Yeah.
will.
So it will be in the showroom.
Oh, so
Go
it's
in
a
and look at it.
jellyfish. You do that. Right now it's upside down, but you can see it as those fussy things.
Woo!
My name is Dave Branch, and I've been working wood turning for 50 years. And my first exposure to kaleidoscopes, I took a class from Stephen Gray about 40 years ago.
Wow.
And got me started with kaleidoscopes and didn't even know anything about this. I joined the Brewster about 5 years ago, and it's been a great journey. And this is the one I'm unveiling. And what I'm working on now is this collection of kaleidoscopes will be all about rosewood. One of my favorite things is all the exotic woods. And turns out there's over 300 varieties of rosewood. And this is cocobolo and African blackwood, but they're botanically the same woods. And so I've spent the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, with classes from a lot of you guys to learn the mechanics of the kaleidoscopes. And so now I'm focusing more, since I've got that process fairly down. Always a journey, but now I'm working on the exterior more. But this is a scope it's all rosewood, and that's going to be my direction of this series of scopes. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Marshall Fisher. My wife and I live in Black Mountain, North Carolina. Oh, sorry. I take my own advice. I'm Marshall Fisher. Is this working?
Close.
Closer?
There.
Even closer, okay. My wife and I live in Black Mountain, North Carolina. I've been a Brewster member for quite a few years now, and I have the pleasure to be on the board, which I recommend to everyone. And I especially like to make kaleidoscopes with bright images. So I was looking for a bright image, and then I was thinking what kind of the body of the scope would be appropriate for a bright kaleidoscope. And I thought, and I also like to make kaleidoscopes with naturalistic exteriors. And so I thought, well, what's more bright than a parrot? And then I thought, what's more bright than a parrot is a pair of parrots. So we have two parrots here. They're made of fused glass, kind of with a raised texture to them. So they're more or less three-dimensional. And the prism inside is a three mirror prism, of which the third mirror is a dichroic mirror. This is adapted from a Mark Tickle design he will instantly recognize. The geometry of the image, but the color selection is, I think, I believe, somewhat unique. So let me, you think this will work? Where am I? Maybe you can name it better than I can. It's a little hard to see the focus, but it's it's better in person. So thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to see everybody after all these time being sort of isolated in our studios and homes or wherever it is. But first, I just wanted to send a message. I communicate regularly with a couple people from Japan, and they send their best wishes to everybody. They, again, like Peggy said, are very sad not to be here. They actually almost wanted me to set up my Skype account so they could watch everything, but it's 12-hour difference or 14-hour difference over there, so they'd be sleeping about now. I really don't know. I haven't been unveiling scopes for a few years. I've been sort of recovering from some surgeries and whatnot, but I've been having a blast these last few years knowing that I don't really have to produce anything to sell. I can just make it because I want to make it, which is sort of what I was doing. So what I did was in the past I was referred to as a lunatic. But that was for my golf game. It had nothing to do with Kaleidoscope. So this Kaleidoscope I've put together and I've named it called Luna. It's not quite lunatic yet, but it's the design itself was a bit of a challenge to put together, cutting a full piece of glass like this and slumping it and cutting it and doing all the work that we done. This went through a series of 3 different firings. There was a full fuse firing, then a tack firing, and then a slumping. All of which was very critical. Only 4 of these broke before I got to this piece, so not 4 of them, but it seemed like 4 of them. It seemed like forever because each one took 5 to 6 days just to get to the point where I could start doing the construction. Anyway, it turned out really well. I've got a couple of them. This one's called Luna 2 because I have Luna 1 over in the shop also, which is a different glass. I'm doing this as a series of pieces that are going to probably maintain the same shape because the mold itself was very difficult to build. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but as time goes on, we'll find out. It's got a 2-mirror system. I do all mirror systems with a tapered mirror system. That's Ichiko now calling me to let me know that she's from, I'm sorry. That's not supposed to happen. Anyway, this is not a limited edition. It's going to be sort of a running edition of pieces as I want to make them. So we'll see what happens.
Can we see the inside?
Can we?
Can you get it?
You want to hold it there and I can start this off.
You need to now.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, almost.
This camera just really looks like
Well, again, Mike, you have to see this in person
You have to be
anyway.
there.
It's a 2-mirror system. It does an 8-point pattern, but it's a tapered system, so it goes from large to small. So it has a fairly large image for something of this length. Anyway, I appreciate you guys spending the time with me here today.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So I introduced myself already before, but I'll do it again. I'm Allison Borg Schulte. You might want to write that down. It's BORGSCHULTE. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska, as I said before, and I'll just give a little background to how I started making kaleidoscopes. So I went to school at the Kansas City Art Institute. Can you guys hear me? Am I holding this close now? And I studied textiles, fiber art there. So I was a fiber artist first and worked in a fiber art studio for a woman in Bonner Springs, Kansas. And there is also another artist in Bonner Springs that had a marble store, and he's a glass worker and making marbles and doing marble making demonstrations. And he asked me to work for him. And so we have an annual show there, and we had 20 Marble Crazy shows before the pandemic. So a long-running show just like this. And so by doing that show, which I did for 16 years, I met a lot of marble artists and became very close to those artists. And so I was sort of a collector of marbles before I started making anything in glass. And but being jealous of them and they're showing their work, I decided, oh, I'll learn stained glass and make kaleidoscopes. And so I started making kaleidoscopes, and then I'm like, well, this isn't good enough. I want to use their marbles. I want to collaborate with them. And so I asked them personally if they would collaborate with me and make kaleidoscopes specifically for their marbles. So when I approach a kaleidoscope that I'm making for their marbles, first I observe the marble in a lot of different mirror systems, usually 12 different setups, and try to find inspiration for the kaleidoscope in the marble and the observations of the marble. And so this piece has a marble that I've held onto for a while, and it was really easy to find inspiration for it, so let me show it. Oh, and this is one of my fiber art pieces that I used for my veil.
Oh.
And so this is, so the marble here has a honeycomb design in it and a little glass bee, glass marini, and then on one side, and then on the other side is this giant eyeball. And so I'm like, how do I pull those two design elements together? And I pictured like this large bear peering into the marble, and so like that's like his giant eye looking into the honeycomb. And then I thought it would really be cool to use a mirror system that creates a lot of like a swarm of bees from this one bee. And so I chose the 3 mirror system that's at a 20-degree angle in order to get a lot of bees on the inside. And so I call it Golden Allure because the bear is being allured by the golden nectar, honey. And then on the back side, I created a hexagonal design in order to create a more, to hug the shape of the back side of the bear. Usually I slump the glass for the back side, but this time I decided to try something different and create a hexagonal design with stained glass.
All right.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, Alan and Nancy Lindenmeyer from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Yeah, when's the last time you guys heard that sound?
Been a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, my dad put an Ugo horn in his 1951 Studebaker. Pulled into the driveway and hit that button, and we all knew it's home from work. Anyway, this started out as a stained glass car we were making for a shop we sold our stuff in Manitou Springs, which is kind of the Jerome of Colorado. And as you know, everything we make usually winds up a kaleidoscope. Nancy made a turkey for Easter. I had to get the front surface mirrors out of it before I could carve it up. Drumsticks for dry cells.
Gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
Anyway, we've enjoyed making this car. It, started out like this. We call it a Kaleidoscope.
Headlights are.
Yeah, put it in the inside the car.
There we go.
That's lovely.
And the lights change colors. We have it lidded.
Lit.
Yeah, lovely. Very interesting. Got it.
Before we leave.
Hi, I'm David Zugic again, and I have been corresponding with a third grade teacher in the last few months, and it's been really am I good? Can you hear me? And hello. And we've been corresponding back and forth, and during one of the emails, I suggested the kids come up with some ideas what would they like to see inside a Kaleidoscope, and then Corey wrote back to me. This is Mr. Yates over here, and he wrote their suggestions, and I'd just like to quickly go through them. The first one is we are interested in weather since we have a weather unit in science. We learn about storms, lightning, precipitation, clouds, and such. We are wondering your thoughts on that one, because that was number one. The kids were interested in some space ideas and like asteroid showers. That was number two. I gotta hang on a second. Quick. Oh, okay. Sorry.
I can tell too, David.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
so some of the other ideas were.
I got it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They learn about habitats, ecosystems, underwater scenes, and that might have already been attested to with Koji's one, because they wanted to see the movement of jellyfish in water and movement with jellyfish. And then the fun one, they said there are a lot of kids that were interested in the Star Wars theme, and so I grabbed that one. So this one's called "Use the Force," Luke. And you'll see it at my booth. I'm not going to go with the pictures because they're much better when you see it in person. And you can imagine what it's going to be. And then come to my booth. Thanks.
Well, no, unveil it.
No, you can't see it until you get to the one right. Sorry. It's just a kaleidoscope.
No, you don't have to show the inside. You need to leave.
So, but the inside's what it's all about.
I know.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm Bob Tupa. Do I need the microphone?
No.
Okay. I used to do some public speaking, so I hail from Northeast Ohio. And if you remember, a couple years ago, I presented the scope entitled Sylvia, which was based on the celebration of forests and trees and wood and nature, and even the object case had wooden shavings and helicopters from the maple trees, etc. So kind of with having that interest, we've branched out to the next step. And from my vantage point in Northeast Ohio, I kind of look through the arch down here, and I look way out west, and all I hear on the TV or see on the TV is how all the forest fires have been going on. And my kids live in California, so it's directly affected them. So in 2020 BC, that's before COVID, we traveled out to California to visit my son, and he's in the Napa Valley area, and they had a huge fire with the devastation of a lot of homes, so we decided to go see that, and that impressed me. However, the remainder of the day we spent visiting the local establishments, and by the end of the day we didn't care. So, my scope this year is entitled Caliente. Hot, hot, hot. And I enjoy scopes. From my point of view, the scopes are eye candy, but I like the sculptural quality of it too. And so in creating this, there's several features using heat and torches and flame to continue with the theme. The barrel of the scope is finished in a Japanese tradition called Shishugiban. I don't know, has anybody heard that? Okay. Shishugiban is where you take a torch and you burn wood, usually soft, and then you wire brush it to enhance the grain, and then you burn it again, and you usually drench it in oil. And ironically, and this fits into the theme, it's a technique for preservation of wood rather than destruction, because that makes it UV resistant to infestation by bugs, You can finish a wood for outside purposes and leave it outside for as much as 30 years without having to retreat it. So that's the outside. Of course, I use the torch to do the flame work for the inclusions in the objects case. Melted a bunch of glass that way. We embellished the base of this, and the supporting member is meant to represent the tree trunks that have been pruned by the fire. All the branches are left, so it's kind of an organic, free-flowing supporting member, which symbolizes the rest of that. But the pyrography has put some flame embellishment on that. And then also on the accessory light source, we used a torch to give a patina to the copper. You burn it and it oxidizes the surface to give a blue, yellow, red flame. The inside, the object pieces are also in that theme of blue, red, orange, yellow, to continue with that. So this is Caliente.
All right.
Our granddaughter, Kaylee, got married in April. April the 2nd. She's the second of our 7 grandchildren to get married. So when we had her wedding and I saw the the white and the lacy and the sparkly, and I thought, okay, this is how we want to make our kaleidoscope. So it is a fused and slumped barrel. It's dichroic features on the exterior. Can you hear me?
No.
The mic's on.
It is, but not real.
Just that little close.
Okay. So we were excited about Kaylee's wedding, and so we designed this kaleidoscope that makes you feel about weddings and celebrations. So we call it Celebrate. The interior has a 7-point mirror system to represent our 7 grandchildren, and it's the third side of the mirror. It's a 2-mirror, 7-point, and it features a white base piece, and then there are dichroic pieces on the mirror, and then the object cell is both front lit and side lit, and it has that frosty background. And so it features a lot of dichroic glass and a lot of all my lamp working glass, and it also has a flower, a magnolia inside.
So can you show inside? Oh.
All together now. Perfect.
Joni Mitchell is an artistic genius and one of my favorite musical people. One day back in late 1980s, I learned that she had bought one of my original wedding kaleidoscopes, and I was thrilled by that news. Some 33 years later, it's still quite gratifying for me to think that I connected to this great artist through a piece of my art. I admit to being a Joni Mitchell junkie. I would drink a case of her. For those who are not familiar with it, the wedding kaleidoscope is a double-ended affair that has an object cell mounted in the center of it, in between 2 different mirror systems that can be viewed from either end. It embodies the coming together of 2 distinct points of view. Joni wrote a song with a similar theme, exploring how differently the same things can look when viewed from a different perspective, and especially when it comes to love and life. I think it's obvious that the physical demonstration of the different ways of seeing embodied in the wedding kaleidoscope is what resonated with Joni and motivated her to own it. The title of one of her best-known songs is the title of my reimagined, redesigned wedding kaleidoscope for 2022. The full title is Both Sides Now, an homage to the genius of Joni Mitchell. Yes, it's been stood on its head. To make this scope, I engaged the services of a masterful wood turner named Richard Chambers. He goes by the name of Rich Chambers, which I thought was a wonderful name to describe the heart of a kaleidoscope. And I knew the collaboration was bound to succeed. You're certain to admire Rich's wood turnings. And turning is another aspect of this kaleidoscope that didn't exist in the original nor in the production model that I've been making for many years now. So the cell turns independent on both sides, which really is a very nice enhancement. Mostly free mirror on one side, and I've been making 6, 7, and 8 pointed gondolas on the other side, depending upon my mood, I guess. This is planned to be a limited edition of no more than 100. It's a large edition these days. And each one will be signed and numbered. Thank you.
I'm Laura Wildy. I don't think I need the mic, do I?
No.
Oh, good. They're just awkward. Like I said, I'm Laura Wildy. I'm from California. I've been a member since 94 or 95. Started producing early on because I had my own desires and what I wanted to see. Each year I'm trying to come up with something that's just kind of a nice little bit of cheer for anybody who wants it. This year apparently it's the season for bees.
All right.
Because what I am introducing this year is what I'm calling my honeycomb.
Oh, lovely.
And it has an independent cell. It's a dry cell, but it's an independent cell. They all have 6 mirrors in them. Not 6 mirrors, 2 mirrors with a 6-point system to go after the, dare I say it, the hexagon. They all do have a lot of different designs on them. I have flowers and ocean themes, etc. As I usually do, with extra charms on them. And that's my honeycomb this year.
Hello everyone, you can hear me? I can project.
I can hear.
Right. Alright, so this kaleidoscope is called Taurus Revolution. That's a geometric shape, otherwise known as a donut, right? So what this kaleidoscope does is it looks like, if you can imagine looking at the side of a donut, right? Okay, the side of a donut, and I've made a kaleidoscopic skeletal image of a donut with, I've gone bonkers, right? With, it's got a central mandala, which is liquid filled here, operated by the liquid filled part. Let me see if I can get, where's that camera?
It's hanging off this front corner. It's hanging off the front corner.
Oh, okay. See if I can get a shot. I'll get it. There you go.
Something like
Let's see if I can do this. So there's the top, and there's the bottom of it, and doesn't look as good in real life.
everybody else.
So, so anyway, the idea is with this, it's a static cell, and that's the reason for that is because you're encouraged then you've got to turn it to get it to move. But as you turn it, it's a dynamic mirror system where there's 6 reflective surfaces, and these windows let light in when it's appropriate for that side. So if you are in the booth having a look at it, get some light on it, or get a torch on it like this, or a flashlight, as you say, and just roll it back and forth and look up and down, and you'll see that you're looking at the skeleton of a donut, if you like. All right, so, all right, it's a limited edition of 10 pieces, and it's called Taurus Revolution. All right, thanks very much.
Good to see you all. After all of this, I'm Henry Bergeson, and I haven't done this for a while, so I'm unveiling something that I don't even have a name for it yet. It's a mutation of stuff I've made in the past, and I don't seem to come up with any new ideas. I just sort of mush it all together in a different recipe. So anyway, here is the latest deal.
Latest deal. That works. Wow. Latest deal.
Latest mutation.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
This has got a cell that moves back and forth.
Wow.
And
It's a cell bigger than most kaleidoscopes.
huh?
The cell is bigger than most kaleidoscopes.
Yeah. The cell moves back and forth, and it's made out of Pyrex tubing that's 3 3/4 inches in diameter, and you might be able to get in there. Got lots of room.
Oh wow. Fun group.
I guess we have
Wow.
to do that in unison.
On the
It looks way better on this.
computer screen is better than the
Anyway, that's the latest thing.
For those of you who are here for the first time, you can't imagine how this group can change your life. And that's not hyperbole, because it has changed mine. I've been coming to Brewster for over 20 years, and it has changed my life. There are so many people in this room who I count as some of my dearest friends. And 5 years ago, I met my partner at a Brewster. So that truly has changed my life. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone. I can't imagine how different my life would have been without you. So now, from the sublime of Marx and these beautiful kaleidoscopes to the ridiculous mine, I still do art shows. I do street shows. There are not a lot of us who still do that. So I have to keep my price point fairly low. And so I'm always trying to come up with something that people can handle at an art show and not break it, and enjoy it, because still, in this day and age, we have people who come to the booth who are maybe in their 40s, and they say they have never looked through a kaleidoscope before. And that, to me, is just unbelievable, because it was my favorite toy as a child. So I try to keep my kaleidoscopes under about $150. Most of them I try to keep under about $100. So what I did is I just took a very simple kaleidoscope and added something to it, because I sell a lot of airplanes. The galleries love airplanes, and so I made a Kaleidojet. Easy to handle, just a simple 3-mirror kaleidoscope, but people love things, love the airplanes, they love kaleidoscopes, so I just combined those two things together.
And this is Kathleen Hunt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, Kathleen Hunt, and I live in the beautiful state of South Carolina. You all ought to come and visit sometime.
Next year.
All right, good morning. I think I can skip the microphone. I hope you can all hear me.
A little louder than.
Little louder, okay, I can do that too. I didn't get a chance to introduce my wife earlier, who's my co-creator and partner on all of these things. So Jamie's back there, you can just wave hi to everybody. Again, we're from Michigan.
And your name again?
Mike Dreisen and my wife Jamie. And this kaleidoscope was a bit of a project for us. It is made out of solid 18 karat gold. We cast the tube 3 times in order to get it right. The end pieces are done with what's called a lost wax process, which is for the jewelry people. The lost wax process, where you cast them and then you have to melt the wax out of the mold, and then you re-put the gold in there, and you have to check the porosity. If it's too porous, you really can't work with it. So it was a lengthy process to get everything right. We use a 2-mirror system, which we don't prefer. It was just the way that this one worked out. We have some that have 3-mirror systems as well. We also source all the objects for our chamber as precious gems. So there's emeralds, diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. There's also an opal in this one as well. The box was made by a friend of mine. It's a beautiful presentation box. It's made with California Buckeye Burl. It has mother of pearl crushed and inlaid into the wood. There's a brass ring and a Tahitian pearl at the middle. So I'll sort of try to show you that as well. And that is, I should do it this way, I'm sorry. That is a 24-ounce, 18 karat gold kaleidoscope. And we'll make about probably 10. They're limited editions, and I hope you like it. That's it.
Wow.
My turn. Last one. Probably most of you know me, but I'm Sue Rio. I'm not going to use a microphone. I'm going to yell. And I've been...
Yell a little more, Sue.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I've been making kaleidoscopes for 40-something years. Been self-employed as an artist since I was 19. Self-taught and help-taught, I call it, from friends and people who knew more than I did at the time. So most of you know me for my glass kaleidoscopes, but I love to sculpt. And I've done some life-size people that are in the Sendai Museum in Japan, and I do some others at home. And this is what I do at night on the couch. So this is couch art. I have the world headquarters of Surreal Designs all right here on a table, paint, clay, all my stuff. And the other thing that some of you know about me is I love birds, like crazy about birds. So this one is,
oh wow, oh my goodness.
It's called Tori no Kai, and that means bird tree. It just sounded better than bird tree. It's Japanese. So I made everything.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't make the base. I start with a cardboard tube. So I make everything, and there are 2 mirror systems in it, a 2 and a 3. You look down through the top. There's my glass dichroic barrel here with a piece of very reflective dichroic underneath that makes it even brighter. So there are 24 birds, all different birds. Size there, I tried to do them. Okay.
There are 4 butterflies, a Luna moth, and a gray squirrel. So
Wow.
it's on a turning base, which I did not make. This is a cake stand, which is awesome. So, so you can turn it and look at all the birds and look down inside. It's a one of a kind.
Can you slide
it that way a little? Thank you.
Wow.
So it'll be in there, and I have a couple of others too that I made. So during COVID, I started really doing a lot of sculpting. So my house is filled with animals that you either look through their head or through their butt.
Okay. Can you get the camera to show?
Try.
Yeah. Ah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Ah.
Okay, we're switching.
Wow.
Okay, so they're made with polymer clay, the whole thing, and then I paint them with acrylics.